the opening of the ANC's National Executive Committee, in his political overview report, the ANC president basically threw down the gauntlet on his political detractors and said that stop discussing my name and my exit in dark corners. Have the necessary mental to come to the National Executive Committee and tell me to my face that I should leave and stop being cowards. He essentially said that give me a date and we will come and discuss this particular matter, and that he will not be at the center of dividing the African National Congress. If he is told to leave, he will do it as in tomorrow and not cause any problems. But interestingly, where he was essentially laying down the gauntlet to National Executive Committee members and enforcing his authority over the organization is when he reflected on the issues pertaining to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and all of the revelations coming out, in saying that all NEC members of the African National Congress should be subjected to lifestyle audits, particularly out of the horrific things that are coming out of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And all of this frank discussion, frank talk of him is pertinently coming after night caucuses are being held about his possible exit, former leaders coming in as interim leaders of the African National Congress and interim leadership taking the ANC to its 2027 conference, the upcoming National General Council of the African National Congress in 3 weeks' time, is essentially emboldening himself within the structures of the ANC and inserting his authority in the National Executive Committee in basically saying, I'm in charge. If you've got an issue with me, stop being a coward. Come and raise it here within the National Executive Committee meeting.
And would you say that, some of these reports stem from the fact that there is the NGC meeting, which is taking place, or the NGC conference, which will take place next month, particularly at a time where he is serving his last term in the ANC?
It may as well be that people are planning for life post the presidency of Cyril Ramaphosa. Some may be unhappy with his leadership, particularly noting the fractious relationship that is there between himself and Thabo Mbeki and other detractors within the National Executive Committee. It also coincides with the election of Kusela Tiko in the National Working Committee of the African National Congress, and the Speaker of the National Assembly, also NEC member Togo Didiza, who was a candidate of the ANC Women's League, to be put into the National Working Committee of the African National Congress. And that just tells you of the javelin that is being thrown of Togo Didiza possibly being nominated as one of the female leaders of the African National Congress that may be touted by the Women's League to feature in the top echelons of the ANC in 2027. You've also got those who are propelling ANC Deputy President Paul Shipoko Samashatile. But this essentially emboldens the current president to say, I'm in charge. If you've got an issue with me, I want these two people, Kusela Tigo, Togo Didiza in the National Executive Committee. Togo Didiza got 71 votes, the highest votes of anyone else who contested this time around to be forming part of the ANC's National Working Committee. But the crux of it is, he's further emboldened going towards the National General Council out of this NEC meeting, further emboldened going towards the G20 summit, noting some of the negative reports of Xi Jinping not coming. It's not the first time that Xi Jinping also doesn't come to a G20 summit. It's not the first time that an American president doesn't go to a G20 summit. It's happened in yesteryears before. So ultimately, he is steering the ANC in the direction that he wants it to go, but also emboldening himself, taking those particular jabs at his political detractors.
As the battle for the soul of the African National Congress intensifies, Ramaphosa, the current ANC president, dares his detractors. He told them, tell me to resign to my face. Okay? Meaning, he said they should stop gossiping about him. They should stop being cowards. They should confront him to his face. Okay? That's Ramaphosa responding to the ongoing calls within the ANC, and especially its highest decision-making structure, the National Executive Committee, where members of the NEC are calling for his resignation as the president of the ANC. Okay, so the core of his challenge was clear and defiant. And the gossip. Ramaphosa has reportedly told his detractors to stop discussing his exit in dark corners like cowards and to bring their demands out into the open. He dared them to give him a date by which he should resign. Signaling that he dared them to give him a date by which he should resign, signaling his immediate readiness to comply if the National Executive Committee, as the party's highest decision-making body, formally requested it. He emphasized that if asked to resign, he will even do it tomorrow. This confrontation was a calculated political move to force his opponents, who are often accused of using anonymous leaks and factional maneuvering, to either show their political strength or retreat. And as we have seen over time, those within the ANC who are opposed to Cyril Ramaphosa are weaklings. We have to say it straight, they are weaklings. They are cowards who, of course, still want to protect their incomes and their perks and all of that. So they are not men enough to confront Cyril Ramaphosa. Hence, they always gossip like cowards. That's one thing that Ramaphosa is right about, that those who are opposed to him within the ANC are weaklings. So the context and outcome. The confrontation occurred amid continued political pressure on Ramaphosa, including media reports of an internal letter circulating in the Eastern Cape calling for his removal and for the National Executive Committee to be disbanded. No departure lounge. The ANC's official response following the meeting, delivered by acting national spokesperson Nongceba Mhlauli, emphasized party unity. Mhlauli stated unequivocally that there is no departure lounge in the ANC, confirming that the current leadership, including President Ramaphosa, will serve its full term until December 2027. There's also been call for audits. In a related sign of defiance and push for internal cleanup, Ramaphosa reportedly called for lifestyle audits on all National Executive Committee members, stating that the ANC must never be run in a mafia style. The outcome of the meeting suggested that while the opposition remains vocal, Ramaphosa successfully contained the immediate threat to his leadership by challenging his opponents to use formal rather than factional means of engagement. And that is why I'm raising the point that within that National Executive Committee itself, there are no men and women of character and courage. Here I'm talking people who've got the courage of their own convictions, who can tell Cyril Ramaphosa straight up to his face that he's the reason that we have witnessed the demise of the ANC in the elections, where for the first time the ANC lost its 50% majority. This happened under the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa. Only men and women of courage can be able to tell him that. Unfortunately, NEC of the ANC doesn't have such people. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tibos Kosana. The name of the platform is IZWI LABANSUNDU, the voice for Africans. Kamaguma Africa.